You have probably heard of the rich history of Iran and its powerful empires. Empires such as the Achaemenids, Sassanids, and Parthians, who overpowered their most powerful neighboring government. But today, my discussion is about before the arrival of Aryans in Iran and its main inhabitants. The former inhabitants of Iran also had civilized government, which is also a reason for the re-civilization of Iran. But before continuing, please subscribe the channel to support me and like the video and share it with your friends. Perhaps few of us have thought about the question of who the original Iranians were. And before the Aryans, warriors and horsemen entered Iran from the northeast and northwest, the early inhabitants of Iran lived in this land. Some of these tribes were very advanced and civilized, although very little information has been obtained from them in archaeological discoveries. Traces of their names in places of residence can be found in the larger civilization after the arrival of Aryans in Iran. The plateau of Iran was very vast in ancient times, and the land of Iran was considered larger than Iran with its current borders. Therefore, our perception of original tribes and the inhabitants of Iran naturally fits into that geography. We introduce you to one of the most interesting historical topics and of course archaeological discoveries. If we want to use the word Iranian people in the time of ancient Iran, we must refer to the original inhabitants of Iran who lived here before the migration of the Aryans. Upon entering Iran, the Aryans gradually subjugated these people. All the following tribes can be summarized under the general heading of the Caspian Sea, after which the Caspian Sea is named. The Caspians were the first farmers in the world. These people taught agriculture to other tribes along the Indus, Sihon, Jehun, Tigris, and Euphrates rivers. Let's introduce governments. Number 1. Ilamdu. Ilamdu were the name of people who were living in the southwest of Iran and had a very large city and civilization. The people lived in a large area of Iran from 3500 BC to the first millennium BC. The name of Elam was in fact the people between all Mesopotamia and the Anfic who lived in the current Khuzestan region of Iran. But Elamites called themselves Hamati. In language of all Mesopotamia means Anfic who lived in altitude and loveliness. We will see the name of Elam in Persia Achaemenid inscription, and these people were up to the city of Shosha and learned to the Achaemenid kings of the line. People before the formation of Achaemenid were repeatedly against the old Mesopotamia tribes, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Sumerians in the war, and had many victories and failures of this tribe. Finally, they fell and weakened by Ashur-banipal. This story is brought in the Assyrian inscription. The main realm of these people, which are from the early residents of Iran before the arrival of Aryans, is in parts of Fars, Darestan, and Bakhtiyari, Bushehr, and Khuzestan province. The tribes came to the Achaemenid citizens about 538 BC and eventually smashed with Kassid and Persian. The Elamite language was the first Achaemenid official language that used it for booking and trade. We can talk a lot about these people, but where does the main race of Elamite come from? Scientists have many trails in this case. Some believe that the Elamites came to this area from the Indus Valley by about in 3500 BC, and some believe that they were an Anfic group who migrated to this area from Pakistan. Number 2. Kasai. The Kassid or Kashians were tribes that lived in areas such as Lorestan, Kurdistan, and part of Iran. These people of the craft industry have left very beautiful and artistic works of art. People like George Cameron have researched these people and state that their language was very similar to Caucasian language and they were neighbors of the Elamites. The Aryans used these artists when they entered these people and a fusion of religions was formed between these two. Number 3. Lullaby. The Lullaby were people living in an area between Kassid and Gouti. You can see a sculpture of these people in Kermanshah province. People lived at the same time as the Assyrian, Eurasian and Kassids. The king of Lullabian was a person named Achaemenids. The Sumerians and Babylonians took slaves from the Lullabians. According to the inscriptions, the Elamites, Gouti, and Lullabians eventually invaded Babylon and took revenge. These people also had a very strong history of metalworking and according to some scholars and historians, they were the first race of the Lord people, because the word Lord is considered a Lullaby word. The land of these people has been in the Zagros mountains and between the two lakes of Urania and southern Iran. Number 4. Gutian. Guti were a people living in the central part of Zagros and in the north of the Lullaby people. This tribe merged with Aryans and some Medes, and later formed the Kurds. Number 5. Mania. Mananian or Manana were tribes in the main city of Urartu and the Mitans. These people lived in the West Azerbaijan and on the southern shores of Lake Uranian. Hasanlu civilization is a surviving civilization of these people, and Hasanlu Golden Cup is the work of Mananian artists. This people was eventually defeated by the Eurasian and Assyrian. Number 6. Caspians. The Caspians were tribes that lived in the territory of present-day Republic of Azerbaijan and around of Talish, Gulan, East Azerbaijan, and some extent in Zanjan. The name of the Caspian Sea is derived from the name of these people. Customs and the way of life of these people were so advanced that it affected the life of the Aryans. Number 7. Eurasian. Eurasian were an advanced ethnic group in the Anatolian or Van region of Turkey, which aligned with other ethnic groups in the region, like the Hittites, later formed the Turkish ethnic group. Though these tribes were initially defeated by the Assyrians, they gained power about 800 years ago and became one of the powers of West Asia. At that time, Anatolia was part of Iranian plateau, and the Eurasians were among the first inhabitants of Iran. The Eurasians have handwriting. Eventually, the Medes and Aryans, along with this invasion of the Syrians and Sumerians in the Caucasus, caused that fall of this civilization. The surviving tribes eventually formed as the Armenian people by mixing with other Indo-European tribes. Apart from the tribes that lived in the west of Iranian plateau, many advanced and industrialized civilizations also lived in the east of the plateau of Iran. Little information has been obtained from the tribes of these areas, and only 2 burned cities and civilizations found in Europe have been discovered. Number 8. Giraffe culture. It hasn't been long since the discovery of the Giraffe and Halil rival civilization in Kerman province. This civilization was one of the first inhabitants of Iran who lived in the 3rd millennium BC in the fertile plain of Halil. Many works of these people have already been obtained. They had a basic calligraphy and stonework, and stone vessels have been obtained with many drawings of these people. There have certainly been trade relations between this civilization and the civilization of Burnt City. Some scholars also know these people as Arti and attribute the story written on this Sumerian inscription to this civilization and don't consider Arti as the name of the Burnt City civilization. Thank you guys for watching this video, and please forgive me because of my bad language, because I'm not an English native speaker. And please like the video and share it with your friends. Leave comments, and please, for supporting me, subscribe. Thank you.